Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in extending a very warm welcome to His Excellency Htay, the Minister of Energy of Myanmar. And I'd also like to acknowledge the presence of his cabinet colleague, the Vice Minister of Tourism, Htay, who's here with us in the audience. Please welcome him as well. Minister, we are delighted that you have joined our meeting and actively participated in our new energy architecture initiatives, and that Vice Minister was part of the Travel and Tourism Summit here. I'd also like to express, on behalf of all the participants, our regret that your President could not be with us this time, knowing that he had once participated before in this summit in 2010, when the meeting took place in Vietnam. And secondly, and more importantly, knowing the role he has played in opening your country, actively pursuing reconciliation with the many ethnic groups in Myanmar, and for creating a path for greater political inclusion, which I think is well reflected here in the presence of Ms. Aung San Suu Kyi. You and your government have launched a series of reforms which have been widely referred to as irreversible. And on behalf of the Forum, we'd like to express our appreciation for the courage your government has shown for what can be the beginnings of a new course for all the people of Myanmar. In this regard, all of us here keenly anticipate your remarks on the promise and future of Myanmar, as well as a special invitation that you will be making. So I therefore now have the privilege to invite you to the lectern to deliver your remarks.
Excellencies, distinguished participants, special guests, ladies and gentlemen, very good evening. It is indeed a great pleasure and honor for me to make a brief presentation on the topic of the promise and future of Myanmar, while answering the question of what does Myanmar's ongoing reform mean for the region and the world. So now, regarding the Myanmar's ongoing development, I'd like to present Myanmar is in the transition to a system of democracy with the constitution as the core. Its vigorous constitutional democratic transition has now systematically reached a peaceful path. Myanmar government has undertaken a series of concrete steps towards democratization and political, legislative, administrative, and social and economic reforms. Priorities are given on the fundamental rights of the citizens, rule of law, transparency, accountability, and anti-corruption. Stable and correct transition is gaining more and more international recognition. Myanmar democratization process is a successful transition, which the people can take as a model with great admiration. Who deserves credit? Not only the government, but also all the stakeholders, including political parties, civil societies, members of the parliament, the judicial pillar, the fourth estate media, national race leaders, and the armed forces have been harmoniously taking part in their respective sectors to reach this stage. Since its assumption of state duties, Myanmar government has made efforts to fulfill the two main wishes of the entire people. The first wish of the people is to live in peace and stability. With this wish in the fore, government has been giving priority to political process for national reconciliation and eternal peace. The Myanmar government has taken far-reaching steps to ensure inclusive participation of all stakeholders in political process. Conduct of by-election on 1st April in free, fair, and transparent manner is example of the political reform underway in Myanmar. In addition to the by-elections, the President has granted amnesty for 4 times since he took office in March 2011. Prisoners were released for fostering national reconciliation, enabling them to participate in the political process and on humanitarian grounds and turning them into the citizens who to participate through whatever way they can in the nation-building process, nation-building talks. The Myanmar government has also made progress in peace agreement with ethnic armed groups. The 3-step roadmap of the state was laid down to ensure the eternal peace. This roadmap will entail such many strategies as infrastructures, economic opportunities, industrial zones, resettlement and rehabilitation measures, and social structures as education and health. It is compulsory for national risk leaders, political parties, people's representatives, and civil society organizations to stand united with the government until national risks under the shade of peace can stand tall. There are 11 ethnic armed groups still holding arms. The Myanmar government has successfully conducted peace talks at state and regional level with 10 groups. Preliminary peace talks with Kachin Ethnic Armed Group, KIA, have been carried out. We are hopeful that final agreement for sustainable peace will be achieved soon. The Myanmar government has also pursued important legislative initiatives in support of political reforms. Parliament passed and the President signed the labor law. This labor law allows workers to form labor unions and protects freedom of association. The government has revised other legislation to define, prohibit, and criminalize forced labor and sign MOU with ILO to take proactive strides to eliminate all forms of forced labor. Parliament passed and the President signed a new law to protect the rights of citizens to peacefully assemble in December 2011. The Myanmar government has also taken a variety of measures to relax media censorship. The government believes that the bottom line process, along with eternal peace, is to develop the Myanmar economy most quickly. It is the second wish of the people for Myanmar to develop with strong economy. In the time of the current government, reform measures are being taken for macroeconomy by laying down short and long-term projects so that a market economic system suitable to the nation's prevailing conditions can emerge clearly. When the global economy is still unstable, when Myanmar hasn't had the economic sanctions lifted, and when domestic business of Myanmar have not been strong enough, with lack of competitiveness, the government has to prioritize the prompt issuance of work business license and export-import license with a view to enabling our citizens to do business easily and conveniently. Moreover, the government relaxed export-related taxes. The new exchange rate of foreign currency has been set temporarily. According to the outside market situation, at the same time, plans are underway to adopt a durable and strong foreign exchange rate that will do no harm to citizens, in cooperation and coordination with local and foreign experts, as well as international monetary organizations. And wiping out barriers to the administrative mechanism so as to reduce unnecessary costs and expenditures. The government has given permission to export rice freely and taken measures to significantly reduce price of fuels, telephones, and cars. Similarly, the government is taking steps to reduce transactional costs, while encouraging the promotion of the private sector and economy. Government is conducting institutional reforms for capacity building of state-owned businesses. Changes and reforms are also taking place in collaboration with international organizations for the flourishing of capital market and financial market, as well as for the emergence of conglomerates. In addition, the government is encouraging private banks to be economically strong, and light and medium industries to acquire capital and technologies. The government will make continued efforts to reduce the monopolization of public services and to make sure every citizen has the right to enjoy those services. The government is taking measures with care and consideration to ensure that privatization is not in the hand of only a handful of people, and that there are no inequality and no barrier to capacity building. For the emergence of the transparent and predictable funds, the government is adopting projects that can facilitate business transactions and promote competency. The government is indeed promoting the role of private sector, seeking valuable advice and suggestions from local and foreign experts in the economic field. The national development strategy of this government is not aimed at developing a class or a community, but aimed at developing every aspect of all walks of life, all classes, or all the people of the Myanmar polity. The government is doing so not only to develop GDP, but also to improve the people's living standards. The public services like education, health, and security, and to make sure that the natural environment is not affected by development. The government is creating a sound economic environment by inviting technical know-how, capital investment, expertise, and management at home and abroad. In order to improve per capita income of the grassroots, create more job opportunities, and develop the whole national economic structure in various sectors, such as agriculture, industry, and services. An IMF mission visited Myanmar in February this year for consultation. They acknowledged Myanmar's potential to become the next bright spot in Asia. So up to now, I have explained about the ongoing development in Myanmar. So now let's move to promise and future of Myanmar. Myanmar, with its abundant natural resources, will get rapid economic development. With ongoing economic reforms, the government has exerted tremendous energy in building the nation's infrastructure at a level unparalleled in history. While global economy is in a state of uncertainty, the Myanmar government has concentrated on building infrastructure with its meager financial resources. An incredible number of bridges, dams, reservoirs, and irrigation canals have been constructed. The reform and recognized administration has embraced, and institutions are in order. The country's legal and judicial systems that interpret and apply law and regulations put into operation. Myanmar can develop its economy swiftly if source of foreign funds, foreign aids, foreign investment, and foreign trade are accessible. The new government is encouraging foreign investors to invest in wide-ranging industries. The authorities have already drafted a new foreign investment law. In the time of new government, new policies have been adopted to substitute natural resource extraction-based foreign investment with production-based foreign investment. A huge labor force is in Myanmar to foster labor-intensive industries and foreign investment. Recently, EU and American suspended sanctions. On 17th of this month, the United States announced new steps to permit American investment in Myanmar and export of US financial services. The US will issue general license that will enable American business to invest across the economy, allow citizens access to international credit markets and dollar-based transactions. Now, huge amounts of foreign aid, foreign investment, and foreign trade are expected to come into Myanmar. With agriculture as a priority sector, the government fostered the development of the agriculture sector and intensified its efforts to build infrastructures across the country. Myanmar will become one of the leading exporters of rice in Asia and regain its title, Rice Bowl of Asia. The most important long-term investment for any developing country is its education sector. Educated manpower is needed in every walk of life. For the future of Myanmar, the government has made important studies in supporting educational development. It has established an education system that is well-planned and appropriate for Myanmar. In addition, tourism is also a huge potential source of revenues needed for industrial advancement. Myanmar is an exceedingly attractive tourist destination, for it has historical monuments. Numerous pagoda and temples glittered in gold and spread across the country. The country has abundance of natural beauty with rivers, lakes, and sandy beaches along the coasts of Rakhine and Htay states. For adventure-seeking tourists, Myanmar has deep forests with many diversified animals, birds, and variety of flora and other fauna. Mountain climbing, especially the snow-capped Mount Kakaburazi, that is unique in Southeast Asia, is a resort for adventure-seeking sport enthusiasts. Another tourist attraction is one-of-a-kind Myanmar arts and crafts that are the handiworks of monthly artists. These attractions have drawn thousands of tourists from various continents. In terms of labor border trade. Myanmar has 5 neighboring countries, China, India, Thailand, Bangladesh, and Laos, to deal in huge border trades. The length of the border with these 5 countries is about 3,900 miles. Since early history, people traded with these 5 neighboring countries. The trading there has been going on for decades. Recently, border trade has surpassed all earlier trades. The border trade, one of the potentials of developing economy, is still going at a rapid pace. Myanmar is building deep seaports and special economic zones, seaports and special economic zones at 3 most strategically important locations for economic development. There are Htay, Chaophu, and Tilawa deep seaports. Htay deep seaport will be built that cargoes from the Middle East, Africa, and Europe could avoid crossing the Strait of Malacca for access to Thailand, Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, and China. The Htay deep seaport is less than 180 miles from Bangkok, saving over 1,400 miles by passing the Strait of Malacca sea route. The special economic zone will be set up in the area between the seaport and the Myanmar-Thailand border, next to the proposed expressway. The southbound highway can then link to the Penang seaport in Malaysia via Thailand. Currently, there is no direct route to Malaysia, neither by land nor by sea, within the 12-mile limit, except passing through Thailand. The port, when completed, will contribute to the development of East-West Economic Corridor that will link the South China Sea to the Bay of Bengal. The land route will start from Myanmar and proceed to Thailand and Laos, and then link to Da Nang and Vietnam. The trip will take only 900 miles, whereas the sea route passing through the Strait of Malacca will take about 2,485 miles. This will strengthen the economic cooperation and facilitate trade, investment, and development between and among the 4 nations, Myanmar, Laos, Thailand, Vietnam. Chaophu Deep Seaport is to serve as transit trade center for goods and also facilitate the container shipments. The shipments are to be made through to Southwest China. Sandwiched between the 2 most populous nations, China and India, Myanmar can take geopolitical advantages and focus on trade and investment with 2 regional powers. Myanmar's geopolitical position offers trade benefits. In addition, Myanmar is a member of ASEAN, an economic bloc in Southeast Asian region. Another economic bloc in South Asia, SAARC, is next door of Myanmar. Myanmar can bridge between ASEAN and SAARC. Trading between SAARC and ASEAN can be made through Myanmar. There are great opportunities for the investor from region and the world. And the companies, those invested in Myanmar, will benefit from these set advantages. So now, I'd like to, this is my presentation about the ongoing development and the, that means the ongoing reform means for the region and the world. Now I'd like to proudly announce, right this evening I have received the instruction from the President's office that is for hosting the next forthcoming World Economic Forum in Myanmar. So the forthcoming World Economic Forum will be held in Naypyidaw, the capital city of Myanmar. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister Htay. We accept with great pleasure this invitation to be in your country next year, and please transmit our best wishes to the President. I have to say I met the President 2 years ago when he participated at our meeting in Vietnam. And when I look back, and you just presented the roadmap of Myanmar, when I look back, I have to say what progress has been made is remarkable, but also, as you lined out yourself, Minister, a long way still has to be made. And I'm pleased if we can contribute to your objectives to make sure that your citizens, as you mentioned, live in peace and security, to make sure that you are building a strong economy. In short, to help you in your political and economic reform process. I also feel that the meeting in 1 year, around in the same time, will give us a great opportunity to measure further progress and to see how fast you have advanced in your plans, and that there is absolute no doubt anymore in anybody's mind about the reversibility of those measures taken. So, with great joy, we accept this invitation. We am sure that we will find, as we did in this country, great hospitality in Burma, Myanmar, and we are looking forward. So time, unfortunately, does not allow anymore to ask questions. I may ask you one question because I know there are business leaders here, and you may have been asked this question before, but when you look at now at all the abundance of resources which you have in your country, when you look also at the exchange rate, and the market-based exchange rate, your country will have net earnings of a considerable nature. How do you plan to use those net earnings?
Thank you, Professor. You are right. Now we are exporting a huge amount of natural gas that's produced from Myanmar territory. If I say exactly, we are exporting over 1 billion cubic feet per day to Thailand. Yeah, but nowadays, most of people are talking about the income from that export. But as you said in your question, we will gain too much more foreign currency from the gas export. As you see, now we are able to export only natural gas. But at the same time, for the other type of energy, we are still insufficient. So every year we had to import other type of energy, like high-speed diesel, motor gasoline, LPG, and all other the petroleum products. So we had to use many hard currency for that energy import. So as you asked in your question, we are now going to apply the new exchange rate for forthcoming years for the income. At the same time, we had to calculate our expense for imported energy. We have to calculate according to the new exchange rate. So it will be also a huge amount. Anyway, it is sure we will have more income for forthcoming year. Even now, the government is already allowed to use more budget for the social and infrastructure sector, especially in health and education, even in this year. So if we have more income for next forthcoming year, we will be able to use more budget for those sectors. Okay.
I come back to what we heard this morning from Lady Shushi. I think it's very important that those resources are spent, as you said, Minister, for infrastructure, but particularly also for soft infrastructure. You mentioned shortly the field of education, and this is probably one of the priority areas. So we are looking forward in 1 year to hear from you what further progress has been made. We are very confident that you will have to tell us substantial progress. We wish you all the best. We thank the President for his invitation, and we will see each another, and particularly we will see you and your colleagues from the government in 1 year in Myanmar. Thank you. We will have now proceed with the closing session. Thank you.